Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Tuesday's pre-4th of July edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for this shortened trading day. Kind of a quiet market here this morning, Dennis. A little over a 5-point range in the S&Ps.
Very quiet. It will be a shortened trading day. On today's show, we will discuss Microsoft has $6.2 billion charge for their acquisition of Aquantive. I guess that purchase didn't work out. Brent crude is trading back above 100, so it's up a couple of bucks. We'll take a look at some of your Exxon Mobil, Chevron, your other oil equities, and we are expecting June auto sales today here.
Okay, that strong follow-through rally on Monday I was looking for in my weekly outlook seemed to get stymied here at the 1360 level. Yesterday's high 1362 and a quarter. We got to bust through here. There's a good chance we just could go right back down to that 1335 area. So Microsoft makes an acquisition and it doesn't turn out very good.
No, it looks like it didn't turn out very good. They're taking a $6.2 billion write-down. Took the market a bit by surprise. It's not getting killed too bad here, though. It's down 22 cents in the pre-market, so nothing really crazy here. Joel, go find out where it bottomed there after hours last night. I think it was down a little bit more than that, so it's holding up quite well, though.
Yep, it did sneak under $30 here in the pre-market, making a low at $29.99. Since then, it's got to pop back up to 30.34, so it's resting nicely in yesterday's range. I'm sure we'll keep an eye on the close up at 30.56. People looking to get out at the mark. I'd use 30.21 as a swing number. That was Monday's low, and right under that you have Friday's low. We did jump when that breakdown under 30. We did fill the gap from Thursday's high, that activity. So let's keep an eye on 30.21, 30.14, and if we break down below 30, Microsoft could be in a little bit of trouble.
What a move for Apple yesterday or 2 days ago, and even yesterday here too, is strong again, moving up again here this morning, just up a couple of bucks, but the stock is starting to march. We thought that when it closed at 584, we thought it would quickly get to 590. It got there, I think, in the first hour of trading there yesterday, so it was a good call on your part there. Ran straight up, hung out in the 590 area for a little bit, but then started to move up above there too. Closing strong, continuing to be strong today. Are we going to see 600 bucks today on Apple?
I think maybe not today, but it sure seems like it's inching up that way. Just going back to what we talked about over the last week or so, that Unreal consolidation was not going to continue in a $600 stock like this. And then, lo and behold, the SPOOs exploded on Friday, and Apple was actually playing a little catch up yesterday to get to the 590 level. Things are pretty open up to 600, but looking at the pre-market activity, we only have a high of 595.11, so I will keep an eye on that level. Coming back on the downside in the pre-market, our low has been 593.20. It just feels like the way it's going up this time, there's sellers there. People are letting go of stock at these levels. It's not the whoosh vacuum like what last time we came back over 600, especially after the earnings. But, I mean, it just feels a little tight, doesn't it?
I'm still of the opinion. I don't know if it feels that tight. I mean, we're up 15 points on Friday's move, so I don't know how much tight you can say it is. It was tight yesterday. For the last 3 or 4 hours of trade, we just kind of hung out in that whole 591, 592 area. But that was nice 3-4 hours of consolidation, and I think we're starting to move up here again. I think we could see 600 today. So we'll have to see who's going to be right, who's going to be wrong on that. You were thinking it might take a few days. I think we might see it today, though. Stocks, other ones moving here. We've got all your oils, which are up a little bit here this morning. Crude's up a couple of bucks. So Exxon Mobil is trading higher. Chevron's trading higher too. Both those stocks, like I was saying yesterday, have been on an incredible tear here for the last 2 or 3 trading sessions. ExxonMobil's getting up close to this 86 resistance area. If you look actually to Friday's high was 85.70, and then yesterday's high 85.47. So we're trading just a bit above there. So you'll probably see a little bit of selling pressure on Friday's high at 85.70, and then in that 86 area.
I'm not sure where this is going to stop on the upside. Can't really call the double top 23 cents away. You do have 85.70 as Friday's high. But what I'm going to be paying more attention to over the next couple of days is basically a double bottom in this stock. Friday's low, 84.46, can
Oh
only
yeah.
get to 84.54 yesterday. Therefore, as long as it holds at 84.50 level, it's still poised to go higher. The question is if it comes back down to this 84.50, boom, what do you have?
All
You
right.
don't have support until Thursday's high at 83.46. So keep an eye on that 84.50 level if you're trying to protect some long-term profits in Exxon Mobil. And just quickly moving on to Chevron Corporation, very powerful move. Did take out the high from Friday yesterday, traded up to 106.09, trading above that in the pre-market. I still would be a little bit leery buying this off the open, and surely if it went below 106, I'd have to cut any longs pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like, you've had such a run here for 4 or 5 days. So, like I was saying yesterday, you've got people who are sitting on some profits, and that profit taking could start anytime you start to get a little bit of a pullback. But you also have shorts that are getting squeezed, and that's why you've seen buyers on the pullbacks on these things. So, you have two forces where the shorts are still scrambling a little bit to cover, and you have people taking profits who are selling. So, you got the longs selling, the shorts buying. It's kind of a wacky world there a little bit, but regardless, if this stock starts to pull back, then the shorts start to get a little more comfortable and the longs start to get a little bit more nervous. If the opposite scenario occurs and the stock starts to break out and starts to move higher and get into the mid 106s, then again the shorts get nervous and the longs get a little more comfortable. So it all depends on what happens off the hop here. But it is a shortened trading day. It could be some muted activity overall. Do have other movers here too. Barclays, CEO resigning. Stock is
Shocker,
shocker.
shocker.
Stock moving up on that. Not surprising whatsoever. That would be moving up on that. 1093 is where it's trading at right now. Closed at 1077. Not sure why my close says 1030. That was the previous days, but did close at 1077. Is trading up a little bit. Actually got downgraded by Deutsche Bank, but I guess the Barclays CEO resigning is better news than a downgrade Deutsche Bank.
Three-quarters of a million have traded in the pre-market, so people are taking note of this departure. These European banks are puzzling to me. I mean, the market has sold off. They have come down to their December lows, at least for Barclays, but there's really no bounce. I mean, usually when it's come down to these areas, it's bounced out of there right away. So it's a little bit worrisome here if you're owning this stock. If in fact it can get back above $11, there's a lot of air in this thing up to the $12 area. But it just doesn't seem like, even with this the CEO resigning, that people are satisfied with what's going on with this stock.
I think there's just concerns there and unknowns on so many different factors there that you're not getting the buying pressure. Some of the other European banks have bounced, but Barclays just hasn't participated. If it can get, like you said, start trading above this 11, you do have this gap from 11 to 12, so maybe it could start filling a little bit of that gap if it can start getting above 11. But I definitely wouldn't be interested until it can start getting above that 11 and maybe hold that for a day or two.
I
Uh,
just want to reiterate. I mean, if this is what the chart looks like when they're doing illegal things and manipulating LIBOR, what's going to happen when they stop doing illegal things? I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy. This is what their stock looks like when
When
they're
they're
when they're
cheating,
being
basically.
cheating.
When they're cheating, yeah. So, when you have to start playing the game fairly, what's going to happen? That's another consideration there. An excellent point, too. If they can't win the game when you're cheating, I don't know if you're going to be able to win it when you're playing even Steven with everyone else. But regardless, enough talk. We talk about Barclays all the time. The stock just, I don't want anything to do with it. It's June auto sales here today. I know Chrysler came out a few minutes ago. Haven't seen the GM or the Ford numbers. Not sure what time they come out, but we should do a quick technical on GM and Ford. This GM chart looks awful. The stock has been breaking down. It made a new low again yesterday at 1930. Where is the stock going to bottom?
Well, I guess if you are a bottom picker, you do have a reference point here. You have the October low of 1905. And then you have the low again at $19 in December.
Yep.
And lo and behold, we're inching our way back down to this area. So if you want to take try it long here, you do have a reference point. The last 2 days lows 1924, 1930. There you go. There's your risk reward. It just seems like until this thing can get back over $20, there's really not going to be much of a chance of a rally. In fact, besides yesterday's high at 1974, you had four highs between the 1992 area and 2004. That Ford news from last week certainly didn't help things. It doesn't look like the Fed did too well on this position.
Man, no, they did not. They haven't done well. What's that break even? I always forget. Is it 32 or 35?
32, yeah.
$32. So
Yep.
they're still government motors still underwater here. It's a
It's
good point.
four. Yeah.
I
I'm
was gonna
sorry.
say it's a good point that you were making with stocks. When they start breaking down, the only thing I wanted to say is you could say, okay, you got a triple bottom there, possibly with a 19. You have a reference point, so you could argue maybe you could try to pick a bottom. But another better way to play it, you were saying about the 20, is why buy stocks when they're going down? Wait for them to start going up, and that's what you could have did, on like a Best Buy type of deal, where the stock starts to move up. Then you should start getting interested in it. But when stocks continue to move down and make new lows every day, that's what a lot of newer traders do wrong. They try to pick bottoms and they get hurt. If this thing gets back above 20, then GM starts to open up and starts to look a little bit better. So I could argue the same thing. Maybe you can make that trade, but use a tight stop if you're picking a bottom this. Don't buy it at 1910. Now it goes down to 1850, and then you're like a deer caught in the headlights, wondering, oh, what do I do? If that thing starts getting under 19, you sell it. You cut your losses and you sell it. Let's move on to Ford here, though. So I'm starting to get wound up here. It's too early in the morning to get wound up. Ford 939 is where it's closed. 945 it's where it's trading at in the pre-market here. But this is another ugly chart.
Yeah, I would like to just point out the news. I believe the news came out on Friday regarding their European operations, and you did have all those lows at 1995, 96, 97, 93 opened up right in that area on Friday. So it opened up below support. I'm sure a lot of people saying, that $10 is going to hold again, and then boom, you break down to 946 that day. You make another new low. If you're talking about buying the stock on strength, you may try and wait till it gets above this $10 level and holds. If that ever happens, the October low is 905, so things are going to be getting pretty thick all the way down to that area. But I don't know. It's just people are just holding on to their cars for a longer period of time, and you look at these leases out there; they're so cheap. I mean, it's
Yeah.
things are not looking good for the auto industry again, and that's not good for my home state of Michigan.
No, not good for Detroit, the Motor City. So hopefully these stocks can find a bottom, start to turn it around, just for our local economy. Because when the automotive does bad here, Detroit does not do good. Other stocks moving here this morning, like we were saying on the show earlier. Well, I wanted to get in, actually, we were talking about ExxonMobil already and Chevron, but I did want to just mention ConocoPhillips too, because this stock is trading up here, Joel, as well. So just kind of scrambling back to where Conoco was. The stock is starting to break out here, though, is what I wanted to highlight. You had this big gap down, and now the stock is actually starting to look like it's starting to break out here.
Whew.
Can this stock start moving higher, or what do you think?
Wow, what happened? Do you remember what happened back then
I'm
when it had?
wondering if it's us on the chart, if that was. I'm not. No, I can't remember what happened back then. But I'm wondering if it was like a spin-off or if it was something, because I don't remember it having like this huge down day. So I'm wondering if even on the chart, if it was a spin-off or something like that. It might have been a spin-off. So the
I
chart
think,
actually, I think it was a
yeah,
spin-off. But on the
yeah. So
chart, it looks like it's starting to move back up. So it starts to look good on the chart.
So we're technical traders, right? So we're looking for this this gap to be filled. Just looking at this, there's still, since those other technicals we'll have to check up on here. Double top 55.88, 56.10, still bumping up against that area. So whether or not Dennis is seeing things here about a gap or not, we still need to focus on this $56 area as a reference point. Above that, you have a high at 56.74 in May 1st, but we'll do our homework a little bit better here on Thursday and be able to fill you in on that situation. Before we close out the show, I just wanted to talk about a few stocks in the Big Ten. Primarily Procter Gamble. Dennis got an interesting formation in this stock. Got off the mat on Thursday and Friday, but someone wants out here at 61, 26, 27, Friday and Monday's highs.
Looks like it. A 2 day top there, right there. We've had one, two, three. If you just go to the intraday chart, about three, four tops here in this 61.25 area. So does look like somebody is selling. I kind of speculated if it started to give it above that area, it may try to make a run for 62. I still think that, but until it can get above the 61 and a quarter area, and whoever is selling and holding the stock down there, uh, that's, I guess, maybe you could play it from the short side, but I do think eventually it starts to move higher here. I think the stock has started to march, and I do think it's eventually going to see 62 bucks.
Okay, I wasn't there for the tractor beam yesterday there at 36, but did you participate or did it just blow right through there?
Nah, I kind of blew right through there. Not sure why the chart here shows. My charts aren't updating on a few of these. My daily charts, my intraday chart is fine. 36.20 is where it did. I didn't participate. It had a lot of momentum going, and a lot of times what we talked about on the day before was that there was an institutional seller at 36, and those high frequency guys love to sell in front of that. So we speculated it would see some high frequency resistance in 35.90s, which it did. It stalled there for about an hour, but has started to move up here, or did take that out eventually and started to move higher after that.
Okay, just to close out the show, the Energizer Bunny stock of the Big Ten keeps going higher and higher. J and J. When's this thing going to 70
I
bucks?
don't know where it's going. 68's the first stumbling block, though. It has run into an institutional seller there at 68, and the high frequency guys are all over it. They held on, selling for the last hour and a half yesterday in the 67.90s, trying to scalp. If it takes out that 68, they'll scramble to cover, and then it can start to move higher again. But until it takes out that 68, maybe you play from the short side. Starts trading 68.01. Don't be short because those high frequency guys will be buying it.
And that institutional seller is looking at the 52-week high, which was 68.05. Just to close out the show, looking for a quiet day here on the day before the 4th of July, one of my favorite holidays. Doesn't look like you're going to get a big bang out of the market. Let's keep an eye on that 1361 area, the interday high from yesterday, the Globex high from today, and of course the Globex high yesterday at 1362 and a quarter. Looks like we have a little bit of profit taking here ahead of the midweek holiday. That's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back with you on Thursday, getting ready for Friday's unenjoyment number.